Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all of you are doing good. The topic for this video is company accounting, limited company accounting, and this is a screenshot from the syllabus, the new syllabus uh, for accounting, code 7707, and the purpose of sharing this syllabus before explaining the topic is to give you an idea of what you could expect as questions in the examinations, and just to give you an overview of what you're dealing with when talking about company accounting. Now, first of all, obviously you need to know what a company is, limited liability company is, and then you need to know what are the advantages and disadvantages of operating as a limited company. So we'll start with here. All right, now what are limited companies? Limited companies are business organizations whose owners' liabilities are limited to their capital contributed, right? So limited companies are companies where the owners enjoy limited liability. All right, obviously the number of owners is huge, and there are a lot of owners. Anyone who can buy shares of a company obviously is one of the owners of the company. um, Characteristics of a limited company, these are important, you should know about these. um, it, a company has a separate legal entity, which means that it can sue people, and obviously people can sue the company as well. Obviously the most important point is that the company has limited liability. All the shareholders, they enjoy limited liability. What limited liability actually is, we'll talk about that in a while as well. Perpetual succession, this means that even if one of the shareholders, if they die or they retire or they sell their shares to someone else, the company will not stop, it will continue to work. These are points. Basically, number of members, there is no limit. Obviously it could be in thousands, so there is no upper limit. Capital, obviously the company's capital is raised through selling shares. Profit distribution, profits are distributed to members through dividends. So obviously dividends are given to shareholders, which is their profit on their investment. There are retained profits as well. So retained profits are profits which are not distributed to the shareholders, they are kept in the business only. Legislation, companies are highly regulated. They are required to comply with the requirements of Companies Act as well as financial reporting standards. So obviously they are highly regulated. Different countries have different regulatory authorities and regulatory bodies to look after companies, and they make sure that the companies continue to work in accordance with the laws and the rules. What are some of the advantages of operating as a limited company? Obviously the liability of the shareholder is limited. This is obviously an advantage. So you do not have this advantage in any other form of business. So if you are a sole trader or you are in a partnership with someone, you will still have unlimited liability. So only operating as a company or investing in a company enables you to have limited liability. There is a formal separation between the ownership and management of the business. So basically this helps in clearly identifying the responsible persons, right? So this means that owners are not managing the business, so the responsible people for managing the business or running the business are different than the owners. Ownership is vastly shared by many people, hence diversifying risk, and funds become available in substantial amounts. So obviously since the number of people owning the company is huge, there is a lot of capital available, and obviously the risk is diversified as well. Shares in the business can be transferred relatively easily. Yes, that is also an advantage. For example, I have shares of a company, I can sell it to anyone that I want at a price obviously agreed upon so it does not affect the business. Obviously, these are advantages. Now, what are some of the disadvantages? The formation costs are normally very high. There are a lot of legal formalities, and the cost of forming a company, starting a company is very high. Companies are highly regulated, so obviously you have to um, you know fulfill the regulatory rules and laws of your country. Running costs are also very high, that is preparation and submission of annual returns, audit fees, etc. So obviously running costs of a normal business, let's say a sole trader, compared to a large company will be very low, right? So in a company the running costs are really high. Profit distribution is also subject to some restrictions, so not all surpluses from the business transactions can be distributed back to the shareholders. So obviously this is also a rule which obviously becomes a disadvantage for the shareholders. So all the company that they're all the profit that the company earns, they can't get all the profit. Company accounts must be available for inspection to the public. This is also a disadvantage, so obviously it will bear some cost as well as hard work as well, right? So um, these were some of the disadvantages. All right, moving on. Then you need to know what is meant by limited liability. You also need to know what is meant by the term equity. So first of all, let's discuss limited liability. We just talked about limited liability. Now let's understand this with an example. Let's say I bought shares of ABC and Company from stock exchange worth 10,000. Okay, first of all, when I talk about stock exchange, you should know that when we talk about limited liability companies, there are two types of companies: private limited companies and public limited companies. The basic and the most important difference between the two is public limited companies are listed in the stock exchange and their shares can be traded there, so anyone from the general public can buy those shares, right? Whereas in a private limited company, that cannot happen. That a private limited company is not listed in the stock exchange, which means only people of a certain group or a certain family or people who know the owners of a private limited company, only they will be able to buy the shares, and that also upon approval from all the other owners of the private limited company, which is not the case with the public limited company. So let's say I bought shares for ABC and Company worth 10,000. Now the maximum loss that I can incur would be 10,000. So obviously I own shares worth 10,000, and maybe let's say the company has taken a lot of loans, and let's say it owes millions of rupees to different banks and different people, but I will have nothing to do with that. The maximum loss that I would incur will be 10,000. So basically my liability will be limited to the capital that I invested, which is 10,000. So shareholders will not have to sell their personal assets to settle liabilities of the company, right? So if the company for some reason is unable to pay its liabilities, I will not be held responsible for that, and I will not have to sell my personal assets to pay off this company's liabilities. All right, so that is what is meant by limited liability, that my liability is limited to the capital that I invested. Okay, then we move on to equity. Obviously you must have heard of owners equity already. So हम capital को भी owners equity कहते हैं, and previously if you remember the accounting equation, we remember that whenever we wanted to calculate capital, this is the formula that we applied: assets minus liabilities. So capital basically can also be called owner's equity, or in simple words, equity, right? So in a company as well, equity is calculated when you subtract your liabilities from your assets. But in a company, equity can take the forms of preference shares, ordinary shares, retained earnings, and reserves. Now what are these for? We'll be discussing them as well. So first of all, preference shares and ordinary shares, these are obviously shares that the company issues to people, and there are two types of shares that a company can issue. One is obviously preference and the other is ordinary. What is the difference between these two? We'll discuss that in a while as well. Retained earnings, what are these? Retained earnings are that when a company makes profit, it doesn't distribute all of the profit that it makes to the shareholders. So it can retain some of the profit in its retained earnings, and it can also hold reserves where it can transfer money for future usage or for a specific purpose. All right, so we'll discuss these in detail as well. Okay, moving on. First of all, we just said that there are two types of shares, preference and ordinary. So the what is the difference between the two? Now, the first difference is preference shareholders, they have a fixed dividend. Their dividend is fixed every year, for example 10%, 5%. So whatever is decided, their dividend is fixed, it will not change. Whereas the ordinary shareholders, their dividend is variable, so they will get whatever is decided by the board of directors. Now, talking about board of directors, you must have already studied it in the subjects such as business studies and economics as well. So when we talk about a company, all the shareholders, they come together in the annual general meeting, which is called the AGM. So they come together in the annual general meeting, they have the voting rights, so they vote to select their board of directors. Now what these board of directors do, they make decisions about the company. All right, so they make decisions regarding how much dividend should be paid, who should be hired as the, let's say, the CEO, who should be hired in the management, right? So these people, why do they select these people, the board of directors? Because as we just said, that the number of owners in a company could be in thousands. So anyone, or let's say all of them, cannot make decisions, right? अगर हम सबको बोलेंगे कि आप decision ले, तो obviously there will be conflicts. So that is why what they do is they choose people, they choose certain deserving people who then make decisions for the betterment or for the improvement of the company. So these people, they are called board of directors. तो वो फिर decisions लेते हैं. Okay, coming back to preference and ordinary shares, another difference is preference shareholders, they do not have any voting rights, whereas ordinary shareholders, they do have voting rights. And another difference is that preference shareholders, they are paid second after creditors when the company is winding up. So obviously whenever the company is closing down or winding up, the first of all it pays its liabilities, creditors, and then if there's money left, they pay that money to the preference shareholders. Whereas the ordinary shareholders, they are paid last, after the liabilities have been cleared, after the preference shareholders have got their money, then the money is paid to the ordinary shareholders. So these were some of the differences between the two. Okay, so coming back to the syllabus, we've discussed the first three. हमने इसको भी डिस्कस कर लिया है, that what is the capital structure of a company. There is preference share capital, ordinary shares are there, जनरल रिजर्व होता है, एंड रिटेन अर्निंग्स होते हैं. सो रिजर्व्स बेसिकली अभी हमने कहा था कि इसके बारे में हम डिटेल में भी बात करते हैं. सो एज आई सेड अर्लियर, रिजर्व्स आर व्हेन अ कंपनी decides to save money for a specific purpose, or when it sees that in the future the profits will not be much, so it wants to save on the money that it is earning right now. ठीक है, so for example, इसकी एग्जांपल ये है कि let's say I want to buy something very expensive and I might not want to spend all the money that I have with me all together. So what I might do is I might start saving for it. So हर साल let's say मैं कुछ पैसे अलग करता जाऊँ, and then finally after 10 years, let's say when I have enough money, I could buy the asset that I was looking for. So same is the case with reserves. The company might want to, let's say, buy a factory, a building, another machinery, a plant. So for that, it obviously needs a lot of money. So they, let's say they don't have that much money right now. So what they do is they take out a certain portion of their profits every year, keep it aside in the reserves, and then when enough money is, accumulated, then they go on and buy the asset that they were looking for. All right, so that is what reserves are. And retained earnings, जैसे मैंने पहले explain किया, when a company makes profit, before distributing that profit to the shareholders, what it does is it transfers some of the amount to the reserves, and then it pays the dividends that were announced, and then whatever money is left over, that is called the retained earnings. Okay, you should also know the different types of capital that there are in a company. Here are the different types of share capital. First of all, there is authorized share capital. So this is basically the maximum amount of capital that a company can issue. We just said that when you start a company, you need to start a company, there are a lot of regulations and there are a lot of legal requirements. So you need to ask for permission from the regulator to start your company, and obviously that regulating body, that authority will, assign you a certain maximum number. So, and that will act as the authorized share capital. So for example, I want to start a company, and then I apply with all the documents to the regulator or the authority that overlooks the companies. So let's say they assign me a capital of, let's say, 1 million. Okay, so now I cannot issue shares worth more than 1 million. So the maximum number of shares that I can issue, in fact the maximum amount of capital that I can accumulate from the general public is 1 million. Okay, so that is my upper limit. So that is called authorized share capital. Now what is issued share capital? Issued share capital is the amount of capital that I actually issue. So for example, my upper limit is 1 million, which is assigned by the regulator, but right now let's say I just issue shares worth 300,000. So obviously in that case 300,000 will become my issued share capital. Then there is called up share capital. Now called up share capital is the amount of capital that I ask the money for from the shareholders, right? So let's say I've issued shares worth 300,000 to the shareholders, but let's say at the very start of my company I might not want the full 300,000. So इसका रीज़न ये भी होता है कि अगर मैं पूरा 300,000 शेयर होल्डर्स से ले लूँगा, then they will start expecting dividends from me, from the company as well, right? So in order for them not to demand dividends, what I can do is I could ask them right now to pay me just, let's say, 180,000, since I know that for the next 2 years I just need this much money. तो मैंने 300,000 के शेयर्स तो इशू कर दिए हैं, बट आई वास्क द शेयर होल्डर्स टू पे मी 180,000 ओनली. सो दिस बिकम्स माई कॉल्ड अप कैपिटल. नाउ व्हाट इज पेड अप कैपिटल? सो ऑब्वियसली व्हेन आई आस्क शेयर होल्डर्स फॉर 180,000, वो मुझे एक ही दिन में तो पे नहीं कर देंगे. ऑब्वियसली इतने सारे नंबर ऑफ शेयर होल्डर्स हैं, दे विल पे मी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता पैसे देंगे मुझे. सो लेट्स से आफ्टर 1 month आई वॉज एबल टू कलेक्ट 100,000 फ्रॉम देम. 80,000 अभी बाकी है. So this 100,000 that I've already collected will become the paid up capital. So this is the amount of capital that the shareholders have paid the money for. So out of this 180, if 100,000 is already paid, then obviously the remaining 80,000 becomes unpaid, right? Similarly, if out of 300 issued 300,000 of worth of issued share capital, I had asked them for 1,80,000, right? सो ऑब्वियसली 3 लाख में से मैंने 180,000 मांगा है, तो 120 अभी क्या है, दैट इज अनकॉल्ड, राइट? सो दीज वर द डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ शेयर कैपिटल दैट अ कंपनी माइट हैव. Okay, coming back to the syllabus, you should understand and you should be able to distinguish between द प्रेफरेंस शेयर्स एंड ऑर्डिनरी शेयर्स, एंड वो हमने अभी ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर लिया. यू शुड ऑल्सो बी एबल टू डिस्टिंग्विश बिटवीन लोन कैपिटल which is also called debentures. Now what are debentures? So debentures can also be called loan stock. These are basically certificates which represent loan, and obviously these are liabilities, and जब हम लोन लेते हैं तो obviously उस पर interest pay करते हैं. So I'll quickly give an example which will obviously make debentures more clearer. So for example, if I have a company, if I have a company and I need a loan of, let's say, 50,000. So what I could do is I could go to the bank, right, to ask for this loan, and obviously I will have to pay a certain amount of interest to the bank. Now a company has another solution as well. Instead of going to the bank, the company could ask for this money from the general public. All right, and the general public can give this 50,000 worth of money to the company as a loan, and obviously the public will be receiving certificates which will obviously act as a proof that they have given loan to the company. All right, so this is what happens when you issue debentures. So if a company can issue debentures, then obviously it is a loan and it needs to be paid back. Simple debentures होते क्या हैं? These are certificates which represent a loan. So for example, if I have taken, let's say मेरे पास debentures हैं, and let's say the price of each debenture is 1,000. अब कोई भी मुझे लोन देना चाहता है, लेट्स से एक बंदा है मिस्टर ए, सो लेट्स से ही हैज 3,000 रुपीज़, सो ही कैन बाय 3 डिबेंचर्स फ्रॉम मी. ऑलराइट, एंड व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी हिज रिटर्न? उसको मिलेगा क्या ये करने पे? ऑब्वियसली द इंटरेस्ट दैट आई एम गोइंग टू पे, दैट विल बी प्री डिसाइडेड, सो ही विल बी अर्निंग दैट इंटरेस्ट. ओके, so that is how debentures work. Okay, coming back to the syllabus, the last and most important thing, you should be able to prepare income statements, statement of changes in equity, and a statement of financial position with adjustments. So I'm going to make another video in which we'll be discussing these 3 financial statements for a company. Why I chose to make a separate video is obviously I did not want to make too lengthy a video. So in this video we discussed the theoretical aspects of a company, and in the next video we are going to discuss the financial statements part. Okay, there's another important thing. They say here that candidates will not be expected to understand cumulative and non-cumulative preference shares. You know that we already discussed cumulative and non-cumulative preference shares. That was because when you're practicing MCQs from the past papers, there will be MCQs based on cumulative and non-cumulative preference shares. So there's a very basic difference between the two. I just wanted you to know that. And however, you will not be, there will not be any descriptive questions set on these things. Rights issues, share premium or capital redemption reserve, so you do not have to learn these. However, candidates should understand the difference between redeemable and non-redeemable preference shares. Now, what are redeemable and non-redeemable preference shares? Okay, so there are two basically definitions taken from different sources, so that whichever seems to be easier to you, you could use that. So what is the difference between redeemable and non-redeemable preference shares? So we just talked about preference shares क्या होते हैं, just like a normal ordinary share issued to a person. So what is the difference? Redeemable preference shares are basically those preference shares which are redeemed on the expiry of a fixed period of time, whereas irredeemable preference shares are redeemed only at the time of winding up. So redeemable preference shares वो होते हैं जिनके साथ एक set fixed date होती है. For example, आज मैंने issue किए वो 2020 में, and मैंने उनकी redeemability की date रख दी 31st December 2030 for example. So इसका मतलब ये है कि उस date को I can redeem those shares. Alright, so redeem का मतलब ये होगा कि I will pay the money back to the shareholders and they will give those shares back to me. So obviously वो shares मैं उनसे वापस buy back ले लूँगा, redeem कर लूँगा, and obviously after that they will not no longer be receiving any dividends for that. Similarly, definition यहाँ भी given है. Redeemable preference share is very commonly seen preference share which has a maturity date on which date the company will repay the capital amount to the preference shareholders and discontinue the dividend payment. Irredeemable preference shares कौन से हैं? They are little different. It does not have any maturity date, which makes this instrument very similar to equity, except that the dividend of these shares is fixed and they enjoy priority in payment of both dividend and capital over the equity shares. Equity shares basically ordinary shares को बोलते हैं. So they are saying that irredeemable preference shares once again are those which do not have a maturity date. That is why they can also be called perpetual preference share capital. So I don't think इस पे कोई बहुत ज़्यादा कोई difficult सवाल बन सकता है. The max they could ask is a difference between redeemable and non-redeemable preference shares, or uh, definitions of these two. So this is easy. I think you should be able to get it. Okay, so this is the end of this video. I'm going to make another video for the financial statements. Alright, I hope both these videos will be helpful. Okay, take care. Allah Hafiz.